Hey, it's Michael from Bike Doctor. Welcome to another roundup on a custom build that we have done out of our workshop here. Not going to lie to you, this is another one of my bikes. We do custom builds for other people, but at the moment I want to focus on mine because I like mine. Now this bike is super special. To give a bit of background, this is a mid to early 90s Cannondale 2.8 aluminium frame. Originally it was an R600, which would have come with 105. Now the reason why this is so special, my favourite bike of all time was a yellow Cannondale 2.8 that I built when I was an under 16 rider back in 1996 or 1997. It was my favourite ever bike, it still is my favourite ever bike. I was stupid enough to sell that bike when I was 18 years old, and I know where it is, I know who has it. I keep trying to buy it back, but I haven't quite managed it yet. Eventually I will buy it back and I'll restore it, and we'll have another one of these videos with a yellow version of this. The reason why I bought this is because I got bored of waiting and I really wanted to ride another one of these bikes because I remember it being so good. So that's why this is one of my favourite bikes. So let's delve into the detail of what this bike entails. So first off, we've already talked about the Cannondale 2.8 aluminium frame. If we come through to the back here, you can see that it's actually got cantilevered seat stay. So the seat stay comes down and doesn't join on to the end of the chainstay like most normal bikes do. It's got a cantilever bit here. I'll zoom in on that in a second for you. They also have on the 2.8 aluminium frame, which was the start of the CAAD or CAD varieties. They had a thing called the Power Pyramid down tube, which the down tube's a little bit thinner up here and the material on it gets thinner, but the diameter of the tube gets bigger as it goes down. So you can probably see that the tube kind of goes into a sort of a triangle shape as it comes down into the bottom bracket. Now that makes the bottom bracket area super stiff. It's an aluminium frame, so it's quite a harsh ride. And one of the little quirks of these old original Cannondale bikes is the aluminium that they used on these was very thin, and they used to crack quite easily, so they got themselves a reputation of being called a crack and fail rather than a Cannondale. Originally when I bought this, I had planned to paint it yellow and do it as a complete restoration job of the bike that I had previously. But when I got it, I realised that the paintwork on it was actually very good. There's very little bubbling. Sometimes on these bikes you get a lot of bubbling and a lot of corrosion kind of underneath the paint on them. There are a couple of little bits, you won't be able to see it on the video, but they are around these areas where the stops are for the cables. Some other little bits and pieces on here. We have our Dura Ace 7100 group set. In my opinion, this group set is the prettiest Dura Ace group set that they made, other than the original one that had the little black piece in the rear derailleur. After this group set, they went to the sort of gunmetal coloured ones rather than the polished chrome. So we've got that full Dura Ace. I'm going to show you some of the little trick bits that are on there, but our rear derailleur, front derailleur, our chain set, shifters and our brake calipers are all that era of Dura Ace. Stem, seat post and saddle, we're running Zip Service Course stem. These Columbus forks are actually brand new. I kind of wanted to ride this bike, so I didn't necessarily trust the old 1990s carbon forks that I had on it. So I changed those out for brand new Columbus. They are an A-head 1-inch steerer Columbus fork. Now there are not many companies that are making them anymore, so they're quite hard to come by. If you've ever watched any of my other videos, you may notice that I've got another set of them sat in the workshop. I bought those for a customer for a restoration that I was doing that he decided not to go ahead with. And I've never sent them back because I'm pretty sure at some stage they're not going to make them anymore, and it will be good to have another set. So we're looking at service course stem with a 1.125" to a 1-inch shim inside that to make it work. Then service course bars, service course seat post, and the best saddle ever made. We have a flight saddle on here, white perforated because it goes with the colour scheme of the bike. This bike is all about the colour scheme. When I show you the details on it, you will understand what I mean by that. But it's white perforated. Unfortunately, it's not a flight titanium. They don't make the flight titanium in this model, unfortunately. So I've just got to make do with a flight. I think they're steel, but I'm not 100%. It's a flight anyway, and flights are the best saddles. Okay, next up we have our wheels. You may have noticed that the wheels on this bike are a little bit special. So we have Spinergy RevX carbon wheels. The best wheels of the 90s. A lot of people are scared of these wheels because they reckon they're going to break every 5 minutes. I don't know whether I believe that. I'm not going to say that I don't believe it. It could be true. But I think that most of the ones that we're going to break will probably have broken by now, so I'm pretty happy riding on these. I wouldn't recommend that you ride on them for any particular distance if you've got a set yourself, because there are potentially safety issues with it. So I am not saying by any stretch of the imagination that you should ride on these wheels. This bike, if you looked around, you'll notice lives on the wall for the majority of its life. It's pretty much a piece of art. Now we've changed up the logos in here. It's quite hard to see on camera, but we've got the white pyramids. They didn't come standard on the Spinergy RevX, and we've got the Spinergy lettering redone. I did that myself. It's white on chrome. It's quite hard to pick up on a camera, but you might be able to see it. I think it looks good. And then we went with the more modern version of the RevX badge, which you can see there. I'll put in a little bit more detail in a second. So now that you've got an overview of the bike, let's have a look at it in a little bit more detail. Okay, so famous last words. I'm going to try and do this all in one take and talk about the detail that's in this bike. If you love a bit of attention to detail, you are going to absolutely adore this. So let's start at the back. We've got our logos there that I just talked about. You can see, I think you can just about see the chrome on white. But that's kind of unimportant when it comes to all the rest of it. So if you look, you can see the KMC diamond light coating chain there in blue and black. I decided with this bike to go with a theme of silver, white and blue just because I think it kind of looks cool. Coming down here we have our Hope titanium skewers. I'm going to try and get around and get that on the other side there. So beautiful blue anodized Hope titanium skewers there for those of you like me who grew up in the 90s with everything being anodized. If we come down here, we've got our gorgeous Dura Ace derailleur. I managed to find this SRP bolt online. I think it's probably one of the last ones in existence, an SRP breakaway bolt anodized blue. You can see we've swapped out the limit screws for some blue titanium. We've got Hope anodized blue jockey wheels in there as well. Lovely condition on that derailleur there, look at that, there's hardly any scratches or scrapes on it. Coming forwards into our Dura Ace chain set. Lovely shape on that chain set, it's one of the nicest chain sets I think Shimano ever made. Swapped out the bolts for blue anodized to keep the theme going. And then looking at our Dura Ace front derailleur there, we swapped out the limit screws for blue anodized too. Got a nice blue bottle cage from Surpass. Coming around over the top here, another piece of awesome anodized kit from Hope. Looking at our seat clamp. Coming down to the other side, you can see the Hope bottom bracket in anodized blue as well. Coming down there. On the other side of the front, we have our anodized blue Hope quick release. Those lovely Columbus forks. I love this bar tape. It's Sinelli bar tape from Chicken Cycle Kit. Ties everything in really nicely. Coming in, we then have another piece of anodized Hope goodness there and some titanium bolts on the stem. If you buy any stem kits and you want anodized bolts, we can get you those as well. Some on the front there. And then looking at our brake calipers, we have anodized blue pad holding bolts, limit bolts as well. That's on our front brake and on our rear brake there at the back. One of my favorite bikes, if not my favorite bike. I've taken it out probably 3 times. It's a joy to ride. It's even nicer to look at. That is our Cannondale 2.8 aluminium. Let's say R600 because it says it on the frame, with full Dura Ace, Spinergies and loads of custom stuff. Thank you for watching. If you have a custom project in mind, please feel free to get in touch. You've seen the attention to detail we can go to. I can plan and source any components or any kit that you want. Thank you.